The Chargers fan base has been through a lot in recent years, but what just happened could change everything. One of the franchise's biggest names is gone, freeing up an insane amount of cap space. Now the real question is, how are the Chargers going to use this cash? Blockbuster signings? A shocking trade? And there's more. The replacement for Joey Bosa might already be on the way, and we're not talking about just anyone. Plus, a familiar target is back on the radar, and the perfect trade package is already lined up. You don't want to miss this, so hit that like button, and let's get into it. Letting go of Joey Bosa was a bold move, but the financial impact is massive. This move just freed up a ridiculous $97 million in cap space, putting the Chargers in the top 3 in the entire NFL for available money. But the real question is, how are they going to spend it? There are 3 clear paths. The first one, locking in Khalil Mack. The veteran is still one of the most dominant pass rushers in the league, and without Bosa, he becomes even more crucial for this defense. If the Chargers structure a smart new deal, Mack could continue leading this front 7 and maybe even get a high-caliber partner in free agency. The second path, reinforcing other key positions. Rashawn Slater is a prime candidate for a contract extension, securing elite protection for Justin Herbert for years to come. But the Chargers could also go after big names in free agency, which brings us to the third option, the one that could shake up the entire league. With this much cap space, Jim Harbaugh and Joe Ortiz have the flexibility to make a major splash and land an immediate impact playmaker. And we're not talking about just any player. 2 names stand out, Davante Adams and DK Metcalf. Adams could be on his way out of Las Vegas and would be the perfect weapon to supercharge this offense. Meanwhile, Metcalf, who was on the Chargers' radar last year, is officially available on the market. What's crazy about this situation is how much control the Chargers have. They can pull the trigger on a blockbuster trade before free agency, spread the money across multiple needs, or wait to see what opportunities emerge. What's not an option? Standing still. After a rebuilding season that ended on a high note, this team has to move forward. But here's the catch. This financial window won't stay open forever. Once contract extensions are signed and key players are brought in, the cap space will shrink fast. That means the Chargers need to be smart and decisive. If Ortiz and Harbaugh play this right, this team could go from playoff hopeful to legitimate contender. And speaking of major moves, the search for Joey Bosa's replacement is already underway, and the options on the table might surprise you. Let's break it down. Bosa's departure left a massive hole in the Chargers' defense. So now the big question is, who steps in to fill that void? The team has some in-house options like Bud Dupree and Tuli Tuipulotu, but realistically, they need a high-impact player to keep the pressure on opposing quarterbacks. The first and most obvious solution? Re-sign Khalil Mack. With all the cap space available, keeping Mack could be the safest move. He knows the system, had a strong season, and is still one of the most feared pass rushers in the league. But one guy isn't enough. The Chargers need reinforcements, and this is where things get really interesting. One of the top free agent options is Josh Sweat from the Philadelphia Eagles. He's coming off a solid season with 41 tackles and 8 sacks while being a consistent pass-rushing threat. The biggest advantage with Sweat? Durability. Having a reliable player alongside Mack would be a game-changer for a fan base that's been exhausted by Bosa's constant injuries. But if the Chargers want to go all in, a blockbuster trade could be in the works. And the dream scenario? Myles Garrett. The Browns' superstar has reportedly been open to a trade, and the Chargers have the draft capital and assets to make it happen. With 14 sacks last season and pure dominance on the defensive line, he would be the absolute perfect replacement for Bosa. Now, if the Chargers prefer a younger, lower-cost option, Azeez Ojulari from the Giants could be an intriguing pickup. He's only 25 and has massive potential. Yes, he's battled some injuries, but even in just 11 games last season, he put up 28 tackles and 6 sacks. If he stays healthy, he could be a huge impact player. And here's another name to watch, Trey Hendrickson from the Bengals. Cincinnati has officially given him permission to seek a trade. This guy has racked up 35 sacks over the last 2 seasons, leading the entire NFL. He's in the final year of his contract, and the Bengals may have to move him at a discounted price. Could the Chargers make an aggressive move to get him? With all these options in play, it's clear the Chargers have golden opportunities to strengthen their defense. But while we're talking about major reinforcements, let's shift gears to a move that could completely change the offense. A familiar face might finally be heading to LA, and the price to get him might be lower than we thought. If there's one player Chargers fans have been dreaming of, It's DK Metcalf, and now this trade might actually happen. Last year, the Chargers tried to trade for Metcalf, but the deal never went through. This time, the situation is completely different. Metcalf has officially requested a trade, and the Chargers are one of the frontrunners to land him. And the best part? The ideal trade package is practically set. According to sources, the Seahawks have always been interested in Quentin Johnston. The Chargers' first-round pick from 2023 has struggled with drops and hasn't lived up to expectations. But in Seattle's system, he could still develop into a productive receiver. A trade package of Johnston plus a second-round pick could be enough to get Metcalf, which would be far cheaper than overpaying for a wide receiver in free agency. If the Chargers pull this off, they'd add an elite playmaker to the offense without sacrificing their long-term future. Now, let's talk about impact. Metcalf is a game-changing receiver. In 2023, he put up 66 catches, 114 yards, and 8 touchdowns, making him a nightmare for opposing defenses. He's exactly the kind of big-bodied, explosive receiver Justin Herbert needs. Even better, Jim Harbaugh has long been a fan of Metcalf's skill set, which could make the transition seamless. Of course, there's one key factor, the contract. Metcalf is locked in through 2025 with a $31.8 million cap hit. If the Chargers land him, they'll need to restructure his deal to fit him into their long-term salary cap plans. But here's the thing. After cutting Joey Bosa, the Chargers have the financial flexibility to make this work. Not only can they afford Metcalf, but they'd also avoid getting caught in a bidding war for a receiver in free agency, where prices tend to skyrocket. What happened today could completely redefine the future of the Chargers. This massive cap space opened up a world of possibilities, and the front office now faces franchise-altering decisions. Whether they extend Mac, land a star pass rusher, or go all in on DK Metcalf, the pieces are in place. But now I want to hear from you. What's the perfect move for the Chargers? Who should they sign? Who should they trade for? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's break it down. And if you're loving the content, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next video.